Before the Chinese coronavirus, COVID-19, is at last crushed through the progression of time or a fix, the pitiful the truth is, a lot more individuals will bite the dust. No one is invulnerable to its belongings, however it very well may be deadlier to the immunocompromised and the old. Since the infection started sickening individuals in China in 2019, there have been a huge number of recorded passings, and a portion of those individuals who kicked the bucket have been VIPs, entertainers, government officials, and the like. While each demise is a disaster, these 10, introduced in no specific request, are eminent individuals for what they gave society during their lifetimes, and like such a large number of others, they will be remembered fondly. 10. Joe Diffie. In case you're an enthusiast of bluegrass music, chances are the updates on Joe Diffie's passing hit you especially hard. Diffie was a cultivated down-home music vocalist who discharged a huge amount of hit singles throughout the years. From 1990 to 2004, Diffie discharged 35 singles highlighted on the Billboard Hot Country Song Outline. 5 of those singles rose to number 1, including Home, If the Devil Danced, In Empty Pockets, Third Rock from the Sun, Pick Up Man, and Greater Than the Beatles. He discharged 7 studio collections, a Christmas collection, and a greatest hits album. Diffie declared through his marketing specialist that he tried positive for COVID-19 on March 27. He stayed in basic condition from the infection for 2 days, and he passed on March 29 at 61 years old. He died in Nashville, Tennessee, which is a city profoundly established in the bluegrass music scene. Diffie is the principal down-home music star to surrender to the sickness, and his passing was noted by his companions with sincere posts on Twitter, Instagram, and other internet-based life stages. Aficionados of the hit arrangement Top Chef are in grieving after the demise of observed Indian-American chef Floyd Cardoz. The gifted cook was the victor of Top Chef Masters in 2011 and was notable for his numerous pioneering raids in the realm of gourmet nourishment. Notwithstanding his time before the cameras for Top Chef Masters, Cardoz was the official culinary specialist at New York City's Baola and Tabla restaurants. He spent significant time in the merging of Indian flavors and flavors with Western food of all kinds. Cardoz additionally held the respect of being a 4-time James Beard Award-chosen one, and he was likewise the writer of 2 cookbooks. Cardoz made a trip from Mumbai to New York through Frankfurt toward the beginning of March. He before long became sick and tried positive for COVID-19. He kicked the bucket from confusions of the infection on March 25 at a medical clinic in New Jersey. Cardoz was 59 years of age at the hour of his passing. He abandons his better half/business chief, Barca, and their 2 children, Justin and Peter, despite the fact that she might not have been too known to individuals outside the universe of news. María Mercader was a main impetus in news and revealing for CBS, where she worked for over 3 decades. Mercader started her expert profession in 1987 as a page at CBS. She moved from page obligation to the system's news program with CPS Newspath, where he created different pieces conveyed by means of CBS offshoot stations. She kept on creating through the demise of Princess Diana, 9/11ths, and a lot increasingly critical events. Mercader won an Emmy Award for her work as a maker, and she climbed the positions at CBS to turn into the Director of Talent Strategy in 2016. Her work there expanded the working environment and assisted with encouraging greater contribution with different minority gatherings, including the Asian American Journalists Association and numerous others. For over 2 decades, Mercader battled malignant growth and different sicknesses, and when she went to an emergency clinic in New York City for treatment, she surrendered to COVID-19 at that area and died on March 29 at 54 years old. Terrence McNally was a conspicuous dramatist, screenwriter, and librettist, who was regularly depicted as the versifier of American theater. He was viewed as one of the best contemporary writers of the American theater, and he earned that qualification through 56 years of work in the field. He got the desired Tony Award for Best Play for 2 of his works, and the Tony Award for Best Book of a Musical for another 2. He additionally earned an Emmy, 2 Guggenheim Fellowships, and a few other venue grants all through his career. McNally's work spread over 6 decades, and they included Broadway plays, off-Broadway plays, films, and essentially everything without exception he could get his hands on. He is most likely most popular for Kiss of the Spider-Woman and Jazz, however he composed many plays, dramas, and theater pieces. His work is played far and wide, and his passing was a hit to everybody who cherishes the theater. On March 24, he died following inconveniences from COVID-19 out of a clinic in Florida. He was 81 at the hour of his passing. Princess María Teresa of Bourbon-Parma was a French-Spanish individual from the House of Bourbon-Parma, which is a cadet part of the Spanish royal family. She went through her time on Earth attempting to advance social causes as a dissident, which earned her the moniker Red Princess. She was a monarchist, and she tragically holds the qualification of being the main individual from an imperial family incredible COVID-19. Conceived in 1933 in Paris, Princess María Teresa spent her childhood in different strongholds and private schools. She went to the Paris Sorbonne University, where she got a doctorate in Hispanic studies. She followed this with another doctorate in political sociology from the Complutense University of Madrid. She was a dissident in the zones of ladies' privileges and other significant issues. On March 27, Princess María Teresa kicked the bucket at 86 years old from complexities welcomed on by COVID-19. She was the main illustrious to bite the dust from the sickness, however she wasn't the just one contaminated, as Prince Charles fought the illness with just mellow manifestations. He stayed in self-confinement for a week and luckily endured. People may not quickly perceive the name Nashom Wooden, however it's not on the grounds that he wasn't celebrated, it's because of individuals being progressively acquainted with his drag sovereign persona, Mona Foot. Wooden built up his drag persona in the late 1980s, and he acknowledged RuPaul as an early guide in his initial drag vocation. RuPaul helped him gigantically by showing him how to apply cosmetics, which helped him land a job as Mona Foot in an off-Broadway creation called My Pet Homo. Curiously, he thought of the persona while filling in as a chief in a Manhattan men's apparel office at Patricia Field's boutique. Wooden later showed up as Mona Foot in the film Flawless, where he additionally played out the melody of a similar name with the ones. Wooden eliminated his Mona Foot character in his later life, and keeping in mind that he tested positive for HIV, he had an imperceptible viral burden. That contamination didn't seem, by all accounts, to be the reason for his passing, as he kicked the bucket because of inconveniences from COVID-19 in New York City on March 23. He was 50 at the hour of his demise. Emmanuel Njoka. Copyright Manu Dibango was a Cameroonian performer who was notable in the realm of jazz, as he was a noticeable musician and saxophonist. Dibango's vocation spread over 6 decades, comprising of various hits, however he is likely most popular for his 1972 single Soul Makasa. That hit would later be tested by Michael Jackson, Kanye West, and a lot increasingly noticeable artists all around the globe. Dibango's vocation started at 15 years old after he moved to Paris soon after World War II. He played saxophone and piano and immediately turned into a customary in the European jazz circuit. He turned into a universal sensation with Soul Makasa, which was initially wanted to be a B-side to a song of devotion he wrote in festivity of Cameroon's achievement in facilitating the 1972 Africa Cup of Nations football competition. Updates on Dibango's ailment went ahead his Facebook page, which noted he was hospitalized with a contamination from COVID-19 on March 18. His Facebook page affirmed the next week that he died on March 24 from the infection at 86 years old. Italy is one of the hardest hit countries where COVID-19 is concerned, and it appears no one is protected from contamination. Lucia Bosè was an unmistakable entertainer in her local Italy, where she rose to popularity during the time of Italian neorealism, which commenced during the 1950s. She initially worked in a bread kitchen, however in 1947, she won the second release of the Miss Italia Magnificence Challenge, which propelled her vocation as an entertainer. She featured in a few champion jobs through the mid-1950s, cresting in 1955 preceding reaching an end. She began to look all starry-eyed at a Spanish matador during the recording of Muerte de un Ciclista. She selected to surrender her profession to raise a family. Inevitably, she came back to acting and featured various jobs with her latest work was in 2007. She is the mother of renowned Spanish artist Miguel Bosè copyright and was a very much regarded entertainer for a mind-blowing duration. On March 23, she died from pneumonia muddled by a COVID-19 disease. She was 89 at the hour of her passing. Daniel Azulay was a comic book craftsman and instructor who was notable and regarded all through Brazil. His work was profoundly respected in the craftsmanship network, and he is most likely most popular for his youngsters' arrangement, Turma do Lam Lam. Azulay was conceived in Rio de Janeiro and brought up in Ipanema, an area situated in the southern pieces of the city. At 21 years old, he made a paper strip called Capita Poundo Sipa Superscript 3, and only 5 years after the fact, he propelled Turma accomplish Lam Lam. His work assisted with encouraging the kids experiencing childhood during the 1980s about environment, workmanship, plan, and numerous different subjects. He ventured to every part of the globe, showing his work and giving talks. He led workmanship workshops with a huge number of youngsters and grown ups, and in 2009, he facilitated an attracting class online to help considerably more individuals get familiar with his specialty. Azulay kicked the bucket in his old neighborhood of Rio de Janeiro at 72 years old. He was hospitalized for about 14 days for leukemia treatment, and keeping in mind that he was tainted with COVID-19, which caused entanglements, finishing his life. For most big names, their popularity is set up during their lifetime. However, for a few, that qualification is just allowed after death. That is unquestionably valid for Dr. Li Wenliang, a Chinese ophthalmologist who worked at Wuhan Central Hospital in China. In December 2019, Wenliang started cautioning his associates about a potential flare-up of a sickness that took after SARS. That infection was later named COVID-19, making Dr. Wenliang the principal doctor to raise the ready that the infection was going to cause problems. Wenliang basically turned into an informant where the infection was concerned, and he paid for it. On January 3, he was scolded by the Wuhan police for offering bogus remarks on the internet. He returned to work and later gotten the infection from a patient. Dr. Wenliang died on February 7 at 33 years old. He was after death absolved and offered a serious statement of regret for the counsel he got by the Communist Party of China. On the off chance that his partners had tuned into him, there likely wouldn't have been any names to put on this list. 10. Don't neglect to wash your hands, stay away from others, and recollect that, we will traverse this.